In yellow letters, life is good for Derya and Aziz, a celebrated artist couple from Turkey, until an incident at their play's premiere. Suddenly targeted by the state and struggling to balance their ideals with life's necessities, their marriage is pushed to a breaking point. Yellow Letters is directed by İlker Çatak, and he has directed films such as I Was, I Am, I Will Be, and The Teacher's Lounge. And Yellow Letters just debuted in competition at the 2026 Berlin Film Festival where it won the top prize, the Golden Bear. Yellow Letters was, I think, a bit of a surprise win at the Berlin Film Festival this year. The reviews from critics was a bit mixed, but I did like this film. I do recommend checking out this film. I did enjoy. I think the main reason why I liked this film because I did enjoy spending time with this family. They felt real. The performances from the three leads. We've got Derya played by Özgü Namal and Aziz played by Tansu Biçer, and their 14-year-old teenage daughter played by Leyla Smaina Kabaz. They really do feel like a nice unit, and straight away, as soon as the film unfolds, you know you're in the hands of a director that knows what he's doing, because the camera is like the opening scenes of the film is a theatre performance that starring the lead actress Özgü Namal, and she plays the lead actress in the play that's written by her husband, played by Tansu Biçer. And just the way she's performing on stage, and she's given a bow, and then she just walks through the backstages of the theatre building, and everybody's congratulating her. And I think this is the opening night of their play, maybe. And it's just the way the camera zooms in, following her, walking through the theatre play and going onto her dressing room. She just needs to go back to her dressing room to decompose in the performance. And just the way the film starts out is just you know you're in the hands of a director that knows what he's doing. But there are two reasons why things start to go downhill very quickly for these two artists, Aziz the playwright and Derya the actress. In his opening scenes, Derya is what she wants to be photographed by her team with a politician who's in the audience, and this politician has just basically not really come to see her play, but to just get a photo opportunity with her, and she pretty much snubs him. She refuses to come out of her dressing room, and then that really has a really bad effect on her later on in the film. And then also her husband Aziz, I think not only is he a playwright, but he teaches at a university, and one day at the university he not tells, but he kind of encourages his students to participate in a demonstration against the government. So these two incidents, these two actions by the protagonists in this film really lead to their downfall. And these actions lead to both of them being fired from their jobs, not fired, but voluntarily resignation. And then so they're both out of work, and they both have to move to Istanbul to live with Aziz's mother. Derya ends up being unemployed for most of the film until she gets a job later on in the film, working as for a television studio in a fluff drama for state television. And Aziz has to take a job as a taxi driver, earning minimum wage. And as I said before, the main strength for me for this film is this family really feels relatable, even though when they're up in high in society, they don't act like, they don't look down on people, they don't act high and mighty, even though a lot of people in Istanbul who they used to associate with, that they kind of look up, I think they were a bit pretentious. I didn't really feel that way. And even when they lose their jobs, they really do can't feel as human, and the dynamic between that married couple and their teenage daughter and the mother-in-law really feels quite real. Now, I do admit that the political elements of this film are a little bit muted and downplayed. I've heard that criticism from critics of this film, but I think there's enough in this film to latch on to even though the president of Turkey or Germany is not mentioned in this film, the state and the president is mentioned in this film, and government officials are heard by in the film, especially later in the film when Aziz they have to go to court to defend themselves in like a kangaroo court, and Aziz is like we find out a lot of information that like the government's been following their social media activities and kind of like using I think they've basically had the government have been on their last straw, like they've been monitoring them for a while. So during court, we find out that they've been monitoring their social media activities, and Aziz has had like secret recordings of his university classes. So I think the government has been on their sides for a while. I think really this film is saying that if you live in a country where the government has too much control over free speech and surveillance and social media and just then that this is what can happen. If you today live against the government in your particular country, then they can really have a detrimental effect on your career and on your life. And there's also like a commentary on their marriage as well, Derya and Aziz's marriage, where we get to see their marriage like deteriorate as the film goes on. And Aziz is trying to like be the man in the relationship, and Derya she's still not a leading actress in Turkey, but she still gets recognized a lot, and she really wants to hold on to her youth. She still looks very attractive. She's still in her early 50s, so, and she's still a very wanted actress in Turkey, so she really wants to keep a hold of her career before she gets too old, and she has like dignity in her life. So that mixed with the troubles of their teenage daughter, 14-year-old teenage daughter, who's kind of like acting out a little bit. She's a little bit stressed by the move to Istanbul, and because they usually live in Ankara, so they have to move to Istanbul to survive. But the teenage daughter, Özgü, is acting out a little bit. She's hanging out with older people, and she's kind of like having trouble getting adjusted to new life in Istanbul. So that combined with the marriage troubles of Derya and Aziz, as the film goes on, it gets quite interesting, and this arguments played out, and feels like a real family. As I said before, this is the main strength of this film. Just feels like a real family to me. It feels like a real marriage to me. So that was the main strength I had for this film for me. I just want to give a shout out to two lead performances in this film. Özgü Namal as Derya. She really, even like there's a couple of scenes in this film where she's acting out on stage in an amateur theatre, and also later on in the film when she's acting in a fluff TV drama. She really gives like, usually when in film when they act out like a TV drama, it's very corny, but then she gives like a fiery performance, and she has to give 2-3 characters in this film, and she really has like a fierce on-screen presence that I'm not really familiar with her as an actress. And Tansu Biçer as Aziz, he is quite like he has like a very distinct face in his eyes, and he really gives like a very like subdued performance in this film, and I was quite impressed by him as well. I give Yellow Letters 3.5 stars out of 5. In this film, I found the family and the marriage in this film quite compelling and very realistic, and not a false note for me in this film, and it's really brought to life by two performances by Özgü Namal and Tansu Biçer. And I really think the political elements in this film, while a little bit subdued and vague and muted in this film, I think there are just enough political elements in this film to give the film its heft and entertainment value. So I definitely recommend checking out this Golden Bear winner from Berlin 2026, Yellow Letters. Thanks for watching. What do you think of Yellow Letters? Okay, please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.